Hey, what's up everyone? Tim here from Everyday Tactical Vids, and today we're going to be doing a tabletop review of the Revo Knives Ness flipper. So I got this a while ago in a BattlBox, and I have EDC'd this thing on and off, and honestly I just really like it, so I want to share it with you guys. I'll give you all the details here. I'll talk about my experience of using it and how it might fit into your systems. I will tell you that it has a couple different options available. This is the carbon fiber as far as the handle. You can also get it with the G10 handle in like a blue, and then it looks like a gray, and then a green as well. So you got a couple different options for this knife when it comes to the handle. The details here: your blade length 3.6 inches, your actual cutting edge 3.75. It does, you can see the edge goes right back to that little, I guess you could call it a choil. It's not the most obvious choil, but it's enough that you can bring your your sharpening stone or your sharpening rod all the way back to the end, which is nice. Your closed length 4.7 inches, so that is the size of the handle pretty much as well. So let me close this up. That's what that looks like when it's all closed. Your blade material is D2 steel. Your blade thickness is 0.125. It is a flipper, as you can see. Really nice action. As soon as I got it, took it out of the box, flipped it open, and it's been solid ever since. No issues. It's not getting hung up or anything like that. Your handle thickness, 0.48 inches. It does feel very comfortable in hand. You can see kind of the contours here. And I'll give you some more thoughts on this since I've used it for a while. Let me give you some more of the details here. Your weight is 4.8 ounces. It does have a deep carry pocket clip, and it does the pivot assembly they just list as bearings, and it is a liner lock. It is a flat grind as well. I'll do a close-up end-to-end for you. So it is called the Ness. It does have that Nessmuck style kind of sweep to the blade. It is interesting, I would say, by and large, more fixed blades kind of are built into the Ness style and look as opposed to folders. There are some folders out there, but it is more unique, I think, than a fixed blade that has the Nessmuck style blade. The carbon fiber I love. Obviously, it's going to be a lightweight option. It's like no pain in the hand, no discomfort, even when you're using it on a regular basis. Nice big lanyard hole. That is kind of a pet peeve of mine when you get a lanyard hole in a knife, a folder that's so small you can't put paracord through it, or it takes just a ton of work. That is like just the right size, and it'll get paracord through there really easily. I'll show you here too. You can see, so there's one side, there's the other, and you got these nice spacers in here as well. So the red spacers, which I think look really classy as well. No jimping up on the top there, so you're not going to be grabbing on and bearing down on this thing and cutting up your hand, which again, for most folders, I think jimping is probably, for your general just EDC purposes, probably overkill to have too much jimping. So here's a look at the other side. You can see pocket clip there, really, really deep. Look how deep that pocket clip runs, which is exactly what you want for an EDC blade, or most people do for an EDC blade. As you can see, this is going to be right hand tip up carry. No option to set it up on the left-hand side as far as the how the pocket clip is built in there. When you look at this knife, obviously that Nessmuck style blade is going to jump out to most people, but also the contours of the handle, right? So you have some contouring here to make it more comfortable. Kind of the finger guard's got kind of a sweep there. It gets thin and then it widens out at the end. So I think it's just an attractive looking blade overall. I've EDC'd this. It is large, I think, for some people. If they want a super compact knife. I personally would call this like medium, maybe leaning toward large, but this is about medium size for me for EDC knives. I've carried larger, chunkier, wider, just bigger knives overall for EDC. So for me, this is kind of in that middle category. I do like how it feels in hand. Just like it falls into my hand nicely, and I can do whatever cutting I want to do with it. Liner lock is solid. You can see where the lockup is. I haven't had to mess with it at all. So it locks in solidly. It doesn't over travel. There's no issues with that. And then one hand opening and closing, easy enough to do, like so. So I want to show you other knives that kind of have a similar feel, I think, or flavor, but they're different looking, definitely different looking than this. So I'll just slide the Ness down here toward the bottom. So kind of a similar style blade, not the Nessmuck, but that big wide blade with a little bit of a sweep or a swoop as I called it before. This is the CRKT No Time Off. And this is actually a little bit hard to find at this point. But big wide blade, you know, very kind of earthy feel, I think, to both those knives. The other one that I thought of when I thought of the Ness and kind of its earthy tone is this Gecko from Cold Steel. Let me slide this down a little bit here. This one's also I found a little bit difficult to find, but it's got a micarta handle, just kind of that earthy, like definitely a knife I would carry in the outdoors. The Ness is a little bit interesting to me because I think both of these knives is like work knives, but this one I can EDC and I feel like it's got kind of a classiness factor. And in particular, like I said, with those red liners that I showed you before, I think that steps its game up a little bit too. So let me offer some of the upsides and the downsides. Obviously, overall, you can see that I like it. I generally don't make reviews of knives, flashlights, things that I just totally don't like. I just think that's not a great use of my time, unless I have something I like and then it fails, and then I like to let you guys know about that. But you know, generally, if you see me reviewing a product, I think, yeah, it's probably worth checking out for somebody. This one I definitely do like. I haven't seen this or used it, carried it in the G10. I only have the carbon fiber. So yeah, I mean, you're going to be saving a little bit of weight there. I do like the fact that for how big it is, it still feels lightweight in the pocket and feels very functional. It doesn't feel like this massive clunky thing that you're carrying around. I do like the fact also the fact that you have the cutting edge going all the way back to here, and you can sharpen it effectively, as opposed to, you know, sometimes it's just hard to get to the end of the cutting portion of your knife. I did find holding it, for me, with large size hands, it fits nicely and works well. I think if you had smaller hands, it may feel a little bit different. I do think if you have like really huge hands, it's probably going to be a little bit small, obviously. But if you have smaller hands, maybe medium size, I still think it'll be comfortable for you. Obviously, your hand's probably going to fall more like here as opposed to here where mine falls. But I do think the contours are kind of generic enough that it's not like sometimes you have contours that are like perfect for somebody with a medium size hand, but they're terrible for somebody with a large size hand. This one feels generic enough to me, and they're not like over angled or overbuilt. I think it should be pretty functional and comfortable for pretty much anybody. The D2 steel, I probably feel like for some people, that's going to be something they wish there was a more expensive steel or a higher end steel. Obviously, the higher end steel is going to cost more money for you to purchase the product. Maybe if enough people like this one, they'll do a more expensive version of this with a higher end steel. We'll see. So price point for this is right around $48. That's where I saw it. I think over at Knife Center is where it was running for $48. I'll put some links down below so you can check out different places where it's available. I think this is just a cool knife. That flat grind, I think, for me in general, when I have an outdoors knife that I'm using in the woods a lot, I like a saber grind, I like a Scandi grind, and not as much a fan of the flat grind. But for an EDC knife, I do like having the flat grind. You can see, I don't know if you can see there, as I'm looking at a little bit of dirt there on the or I don't know, leftover grime, something from cutting stuff. But yeah, I've used this. I've EDC'd it on and off for probably, I don't know, maybe 3 months or so, let's say. And it's worked great, and I just like it a lot. So I think it's a pretty slick looking knife. And for $50, D2 is a solid steel. You know, it's not a super steel. It's not S35 yen or CPM 3V, something like that. But it's a good steel. It's going to hold up. And I think the overall design and build are really nice. So I'm going to check out more of these Revo knives. I'm not super familiar with them, but I do want to learn a little bit more about them, because if they make other things like this, I think they're probably worth checking out. All right, guys, that's the Revo Knives Ness D2 steel. This one's with the carbon fiber handles. Again, you can get it with the G10 handles as well. Running around, looks like $48. If you do get the carbon fiber, I just did a little research. Looks like it's going to run you closer to like $66 over at Knife Center. But I like this knife. I want to let you guys know about it. So check it out. Links down below if you're interested. And as always, thanks for checking out the videos here on YouTube. Please subscribe to Everyday Tactical Vids if you haven't done so already. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, check us out on Instagram, Tumblr, and Vero as well. More videos coming soon. Take care.